Hello, everybody, and welcome to Great Convos, where we always say whether you agree or disagree, you can always find great convos. I am back in Canada. Feels good to be home, but obviously I miss everything that has happened in the last week. I'm Roger, that gentleman over there, my good partner in crime.
Hi there, I'm Alexandre. Hey, Roger, good to have you back home. Good to have you back in Canada. You've been traveling a lot, so we're going to speak today about traveling
Mhm.
for whether it's for a TEDx talk or for a keynote, whether it's in Germany or in Romania, or maybe even traveling within your own country. How do we do it? How do we uh, deal with different cultures, and how do we integrate that culture, uh, or is it is it something that we need to do or not? We're just going to talk about that. So,
Yeah,
Roger,
definitely.
go ahead.
Alex, I need you to bring your energy up, man. Bring your energy up, man. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
Roger, you you told me that you are jet lagged and you don't look like it, and I have not yet finished my coffee. So as you continue the introduction, let me have another sip here.
Of course, of course. I'll let him do that. And we first and foremost want to welcome all of our loyal listeners. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we thank you. Please put in the chat, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Man, Alex, I am jet lag. I literally got in very early this morning. I am extremely tired, but took a quick nap, and I knew that we had the show to do, so I wanted to come on and let's just have some fun still. Look at everybody. All right. Hello, Kathy. Hello, McKinley. Good to hear from both of you. Thank you. But yeah, it was very exciting, rewarding, a great experience all around from both places. I want to give a quick shout out to Victoria in Germany and Adriana in Romania for inviting me to be a part of both events out there.
Now, Roger, I'd like you to tell me what was the most memorable moment or something that stands out from your trip to Europe.
For Germany, and this is going to be twofolds because it's in both places. The first one, the architecture and the culture and the history behind both nations. I learned so much in such a short period of time, but it's the architect. I mean, my goodness, there are buildings there, and if I was able to put it on the screen to show some of the pictures, and I probably will in my social media at some point, but just some of the buildings that they have there are just magnificent, right? I can tell you right now that in Romania, the parliament where I spoke, the actual parliament building where I spoke, is the second largest building in the world next to the Pentagon, right? And then they had the world's largest Orthodox church, and it is magnificent,
Mm.
unbelievable. In Germany, I saw some buildings that I've never seen before. One that was made what looked like uh, it looked like a figure eight when you look from on top to see the building, how it was designed. It's amazing just the way it was done. And then the second thing that I found that was was memorable was the actual events themselves. The culture, the people, the way in which people invited me in, and I felt very welcomed in both locations. The events that went well, the TEDx at one, and speaking at the National Federation for Parenting, it was the other one. It was both of them treated me like a welcomed member of their organizations. So it was really good.
Nice. So we'll get to some of the questions that I have for you, but there is one question from Lyubov who asks you, Roger, did you meet Dracula? Because that
Yes.
his castle
So
is there, right?
was planning, I will say this, I was planning to go there on Saturday. but the weather was really bad. It was raining really, really bad that day. And it takes from where I was in Budapest to where Dracula's castle is, it's about 4 hours to get
Mm.
there. Now, with the train, it's about 2.5, and then you got to still drive an additional hour or so to get there. So, unfortunately, because of the weather and because of everything else that was going on, and I knew that I was going to be leaving shortly after that. We did not get a chance to get there, but I did get some beautiful souvenirs to go home with.
Good.
That's for sure.
Roger, last week we spoke before your TEDx presentation and we mentioned something and we have to issue a correction. What did we say? What did we say last week? The tagline for TED and TEDx is ideas worth spreading.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. And thank you to Terry Kingston who listened to us, not live, but later on, who corrected us because for their 40th anniversary, TED did change their tagline rather than ideas worth spreading. They make a bolder statement, and they changed this last year to ideas change everything.
There we go. Well, thank
And
you
this is
very
one
much.
thing that you did and that you listened to. Now, Roger, I know that the TEDx Essen event was bilingual. I assume that you were speaking in English, but there
Yes, I
were
was.
other speakers who spoke in German. How was that as the cross-cultural experience for you?
Listen, first of all, I found it amazing that you could be at an event like that, obviously in Germany, seeing, and that's the other thing. I may not have understood what was being said. However, I will tell you this. The majority of people that were there around me would explain things to me, and I appreciated that very, very much. There was many times where I was looking, and you could tell based off of what they were presenting, you can tell what the speech and the presentation was all about. But to know all the intricacies of it and everything, I had other people who were around who said, okay, this is what it is, and so forth. And the same thing in Romania, it happened there that they were able to enlighten me and let me know exactly what was being said at each time.
Right. Now, here's an idea. I wonder if in the audience you could have taken out your smartphone on a translator to listen to it in your ear, but also use the app to have it read the subtitles or the presentations that are on screen to see them directly there. Is it something that you would do?
Yeah, I think in future I would do that. This is the first time for both places that I've been to a nation where English wasn't one of the main languages spoken. So it is something that, again, should it happen again, which I hope very much that it will, I will come more prepared for something like that. Again, when you're there and you have to speak, and you know this as speakers, you're in your own zone. You got to get yourself prepared. You got to go through your content. All of that happens during that period of time. So you're getting yourself in your own frame of mind. So that's something, if I could sit back and just enjoy the moment fully, that would be one of the things I would do. Yes.
Right. We got some great comments in the chat. Keep them coming. We have here Kathy, who mentions travel as a great educator. Stories can become real when you see history in front of you. You mentioned architecture. There's a lot of history in beautifully done architecture.
Can I say this?
You can say what you want.
I want to be very clear in how I say this. When I was in Ireland last year, I saw this same thing. And then even in Trinidad and Barbados as well. But while I was in Germany and in Romania, what I admired more than anything else is how patriotic and proud the people who live there are of their history Now, I'm not saying when I say proud, I don't necessarily mean that everything was good, but that they knew it so much. Like I sat there with a gentleman, shout out to Dan. I sat with Dan and we must have had about an hour conversation. And he was just enlightening me with all of the history behind Romania, the darkest times, the good times, some of the things that they wish could have been different. It's the beauty of when a nation or a people of a nation truly embrace their history and know it, so that when a person like me who comes in who does not know it is able to walk away even after a few days and categorically recognize what this country is all about.
Wow. Is that a lesson for us all
Mm-hmm.
to better know our own history, our own country's history,
Yes.
as you say, the good and the bad, and to help
Mm-hmm.
to help visitors appreciate it?
Yes. And that is where I was going with it, because I think that's something that we can really learn here in Canada or anywhere, or the US or anywhere else, that maybe we don't necessarily know the whole history of our nation. But if somebody who comes into the country wants to learn more, we should. We should
Mm.
really be able to say, this happened in this period of time. I mean, he was telling me stuff in 1708 and 1819 and this and that. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, I think it's important. It is truly a great educator, as Kathy said.
Now, I wanted to ask you about learning the culture. You shared with me earlier on that of course, you learned a lot about these countries and their peoples while you were there. But did you do any research or learning ahead of time to prepare?
Yes, and that's number one. Rule number one as a speaker: if you're going to another country that you're not familiar with, learn about the culture, learn about what is acceptable, what isn't. And then I confirmed certain things when I was there, to just know what I can and can't say, or some of the things that might not fly well with them versus what was okay. And I remember one specific situation that happened when I was doing my TED talk, and I asked the audience to raise their hand for a particular part of my speech. And although they did, because most of them understood, especially here's another thing, in Germany, part of the curriculum is to learn English. So
Mhm.
many people know English very well. But I heard afterwards that there were some people that were there that said, I don't I don't want to raise my hand. I don't need to raise my hand. Why do I have to raise my hand? What is
Ah,
what is the purpose of raising my hand? Right?
so there's a
So
cultural
even
difference
though
where
even though pardon me?
there's a cultural difference here where it's not normal or habitual for them to raise their hand when they're asked.
Exactly. So that was one of the things. It didn't affect my speech or how it was perceived or anything like that. But when it came back to me, I said, "Oh, okay, that's different. We're so used to doing that in North America, and people either raise their hand or they shake their head or whatever we ask them to do, but that's not something that is known there, right?"
Mhm.
And then in Romania, I remember asking Adriana, "Is there anything that I cannot maybe talk about while I'm at the parliament?" And it's kind of like what the Toastmasters thing, but she said, try not to be political in any way, because there's so many different people, delegates that are going to be in this room, and they might see that as you disrespecting the culture there in any way. And I knew my talk wasn't going to be about that, so I wasn't worried about it. But again, know your audience, right? Know where you're going, know the nuances of things that are there, know what you can and can't talk about. I did my homework.
Yeah.
I made sure.
And it's good for you to have an ally over there, or even if it's here before you go, if they know the culture, if they know yours and theirs,
Mhm.
that can really help you to identify what you can say, what you can't say.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you could be tempted to try to make light of a situation
Hmm.
in that country or in wherever you're going,
Hmm.
but it could be received the wrong way. Um, just as an off the top of my head example, if you were to talk about a sports rivalry, you want to get the names right, and you want to be sure that if you favor one team, that you're in the right city for it. And if you're in a city where it's like in the middle, then you might upset everyone at once, depending on how you say it. So
you cut out, Alex. I think your battery went on us. But yes, you're right. While he works on that, you're right about that. Funny story that happened while I was there. I'm in the market in Romania, just doing a little shopping and walking around and obviously observing a lot of the architecture there. And there's this gentleman who hears me speaking, and he says, "Oh, you're not from here." And I said, "No, I'm not." And he says, "Okay, where are you from?" I said, "Canada." And he says that he's from LA, right? And so we strike up a conversation. And of course, for those of you who are here in Canada and know what recently happened, he did bring up the World Series, and that the Toronto Blue Jays lost to the LA Dodgers. But it was funny because when we were there, the one thing that we both said was, what a beautiful place. And the people, just the way they were to both of us, from where he was standing, his point of view and my point of view was good. Now, I don't know if you're still, no, Mike, I'm going to look through some of these comments here because we have.
Well, you have a question.
Richard, thank you, Richard, for joining us today. This is really appreciated. But yeah, depending on the language, the translation apps won't get the sentence structure 100% correct. You're right. And that's why I was glad to have somebody there to be able to translate it properly for me so that I didn't make mistakes with regards to that as well.
It's Roger. It sounds like Richard.
You're still not on. You're still not on, Alex. We'll get Alex back. There's other ones here as well. What do we got? We've got, hi, Terry. I'm glad that you're able to join us as well. Thank you for coming in. But there we go. Thank you for being here. Mike, how responsive were your audience? Very responsive. I got a lot of screams and shouts after my TED talk, which was so good. I really appreciated that. They enjoyed it. And then when I was in Romania as well, I had some of the delegates come over and exchange information with me and ask me what's my availability to speak at another event somewhere else in their part of the world, because they're coming from different places. And so I'm very grateful about that, extremely grateful that I had that opportunity to be with them and that they enjoyed my talk. Let me see what else. Let me see. Terry, yes, of course. I would not mix anything. I would not do anything like that. Of course not. But overall, I have to say, I completely enjoyed myself. This is a lesson for everybody. Yeah. And Alex and I were talking about it before, you know, me being the suitcase guy and he being in the studio. I think what's important to understand, wait a second, let me just get this off of here. There we go, hide that. I think what is important to understand is that I wasn't expecting this. And when I say that, I mean that when you're getting opportunities to be able to speak in these different countries and these places, I never saw myself as being that, Alex. Honestly, I didn't know that would happen. I always dreamed that it would. I wanted it to happen, but it's beautiful when we get to share our voices in different places like this and take the opportunity to do it. Your voice has power, and we've talked about this all season in different ways. But my voice being there and the others who were speaking on those stages, the power of their voices to share their ideas, to share their thoughts, to give a new meaning to something that they feel passionate about. Same with myself. That's where the beauty of your voice comes in. As well, when I look at in Romania, because of the function that I was at, it being all about the Parents Association or Federation, as a parent, I was able to share my voice and my opinion about how it felt for myself raising two daughters and watching them look at me with their smiles on their faces, and some of them saying, like pointing to the hairs on their arm as it
I thought
raised.
they
And I
were
was
saying,
like, oh,
you're out of time.
okay, so that meant something. What's this? Richard, okay, hold on, let me put this here. When I presented in China, I had Mandarin subtext added to the slides. Reviewed prior to the presentation, it changed the level of connection to y'all. Thank you, Richard. Yes, I appreciate that. That really is very helpful. So little
Great.
things like that. Go ahead, Alex.
I just wanted to
Nope,
do a
can't hear you.
sound check. Okay,
Still
so
cannot hear
it
you.
might be on your end. People in the chat, let us know if you can hear me.
Still cannot hear you,
If it
Alex.
sounds like, it looks like my sound is on.
I'm wondering if everybody else are they hearing me or are they not hearing Alex? Can you just put in the chat if you're hearing Alex and it's maybe on my side or vice versa?
That's a great question. And
You hear
McKinley,
Alex. Okay, so it's on my side.
so it's on your side. All this
I'm
time, I've
wondering
been
what
checking
happened.
if my sound works,
I don't know.
trying to fix a problem
Let me
that
find out.
doesn't exist.
Give me a second, Alex. I apologize then if that is my doing.
Now,
Let me just pull this up here.
so I'm going to mention something that he
How about
mentioned.
that?
Yeah, let's see if you hear me. Well, this
Let's
will
see
be,
if I hear you. There we go.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
great.
Okay. I hear you now.
I was starting to think maybe we're just going to have two
I apologize.
parallel conversations, one on just with all alone together at the same time. Roger, I was hearing you all that time, and you've with everything that you've shared, you demonstrate that your voice doesn't just have power; it also has reach. You can bring whatever message you have, not just around you, but in the world.
Yes.
Now, you've been saying multiple times as speakers, this is what we do, but all these lessons of learning another culture before you travel somewhere, and making sure that you also are immersed there when you go. It doesn't only apply to speaking, does it?
No, not at all. It
So
applies to everyone when you're going for a business trip, when you're visiting family, whether you're new to the country in any way, shape, or form. It's learning the culture, having some idea of what to expect when you go there. Yeah, that applies to everybody. But it applies, when I say speakers, it applies because now we are center stage in a moment where you don't want to say anything and embarrass yourself or cause contention in any way when you're out there. So something like what Richard did is amazing, that he took the time to do that so that he knew, number one, what it meant, what he was saying, probably did his research. I'm pretty sure when it comes to Richard Peck, he would have done his research to know what he could and couldn't speak about. So very good.
And maybe you can, when you're preparing for a trip, ask someone who's been there recently for extra tips, like Kathy, who mentions here that you should know your electrical plugs, because if you're going in a country that your plugs don't work, then you need to buy equipment when you're there, which is more expensive than if you just get
Alex,
plugs.
this is actually a story that I talked about on my trip to Ireland. So there's a backstory to why she's asking or talking about this, because she's a part of
It comes from your
my
experience.
Toastmasters club, and I had an incident that happened back there. One day I'll share it with you. But look at the time.
Roger,
Look how fast this went.
I'm looking forward to learning, to hearing more details of your trips and learning more about countries that I've not been to yet. Your ideas can change everything, as the TED saying says. Man, that's a bad sentence. Let me try again. As the saying goes, your ideas change everything, and you can. And ideas are actually one thing that, no matter where you go, they travel with you. So let's keep that in mind when we're traveling somewhere else. We can bring our ideas, whether we bring them to the stage or just with friends or new friends that we meet when we're somewhere, when we're traveling.
Mhm,
We can share our ideas, share our cultures as well,
mhm,
and remember to bring some back as well. Not just physical souvenirs, but ideas that you can bring home.
mhm. Talking about souvenirs, can I at least share these ones? Because I did want to share something that I
Of course,
received.
go ahead
Okay,
as I
so
show my Paris mug.
as you take your call right there. Um, so Victoria was nice enough to give me this embroidered pen set, gold and blue, right, for myself for coming all the way from here, and along with some other nice souvenirs and gifts that she gave. But this was really nice that she gave me this uh, to come all the way there to speak at the TEDx. And Adriana made, handmade this cloth for me,
Wow.
right, as something to take home with me as well. So I want to say thank you to both Victoria and Adriana again for not only just the gifts, but for opening me up to new worlds. I
Mm.
really appreciate that very
Well
much.
said. Look, some of my most prized possessions are those that were given by traveling friends. I have
Yeah,
some souvenirs from Australia that I
yeah,
got in 2012, I think,
yeah,
and still have them. Still remember the friends that I made at that time, and
yeah.
the exchanges, the cultural exchanges that happen.
Hmm.
Let's have more of that. Whether we go in person or whether we arrange something online, let's have more of these exchanges. Wouldn't it be nice if we had more understanding in the world?
No question about it. I couldn't say it any better, Alex. Wow, we have reached the end of another great conversation. I know that there's more that I can talk about with regards to uh, this trip of mine, but I will end it by saying this: the world is vast and it's beautiful. And while we are here in Canada and maybe in our small circle, there is a full world out there to explore. And I was able to go to two beautiful countries and explore their history, their culture, their people. But the world is massive. And if you ever have the opportunity and have had the opportunity, really take a moment to really look at what happens in these places, learn about them, walk home and be able to say that, hey, this is what I took away from this place. This is what I took away from that place. And take it and really use it as a memento, as a memory, a chance to look back and say, I went there. It wasn't just about the speaking, it was about the connections
Mm.
that I got there. And that to me was far more important than just showing up, doing a speech, and leaving. It's coming there, learning about the culture, learning about who they were, and also just embracing the moment. Please do the same.
Hmm.
Alex, take
Thanks,
us home.
Roger. Well, our voices have power, and the world, as you say, is vast, but in some ways it can be small as well. Whether you agree or disagree, Roger, you can always find great convos.
Take care, everybody.
See you next week.
Dankeschön.
Auf Wiedersehen. Wie geht's? Tschüss. Sehr gut.